All right, y'all. How y'all doing today? I'm here to share a dream that I had. I don't have time within this video to go into details of how often I get these dreams and visions and prophetic messages. I go into that more on my YouTube. So if you're interested, please go check that out. Nevertheless, this is a dream about a warning, an urgent warning. I have tried to take my time. I have tried to make notes and write it down a certain way and make it to where the kind of presentable that I think it should be. And God has definitely been like, nah, like you're doing too much. This is urgent. I need you to share this. And I had this dream last year, okay? And it's very scary, as they tend to be. I get a lot of end time visions and dreams. So yeah, so I got this one, October 27th, 2024. And basically in this dream, it's me, my husband, and two friends, right? And we're just hanging out. It's a normal day. The weather is beautiful. Sun is shining. There aren't any notices or alerts of any kind of uh, foreboding weather of any kind. Like nowhere in the forecast. And so we're chilling inside at some point, and then at some point we're outside. And when we get outside, we're in just this big, large, grassy area. I guess similar to our yard, but it didn't look exactly like our yard. And within minutes, I'm noticing stuff picking up around us, and like it was so sudden. Like there was no time to talk. Like the three of them were talking, and I just noticed that stuff was going crazy. There was a funnel right behind us. I just happened to look, and I'm like, there's nowhere to run to. It's literally right there. And so I go to get their attention, like, yo, it's a funnel right behind us. And we just knew, like, I don't even think they had time to look. We just knew that we had to basically pray and, hold on, like just stand there or whatever. And that may not be what you do in real life, but there's a reason for why it played out that way. Sorry about that. Sorry about the noise, but there's a reason why I played out that way, and what it really means. It was sudden. In the dream, we could not just run back inside or anything like that. We just had to stand there and hope for the best, So I remember grabbing my husband's arm with one hand, grabbing the friend that was on the other side of me, grabbing their arm with my other hand, and we kind of just was like a four person link, and we just stood with our back to this funnel as it approached. And it was just, everything was going crazy around us. Everything was flying around us. It was just getting wild. This wasn't the biggest funnel, not that I've ever seen any really close, but we had the awareness this wasn't the biggest funnel. It wasn't, the worst kind, but it was there, and it was enough to be apprehensive about. It was enough that it could have taken us out. And so it was right behind us and was getting closer and closer. And then at a certain point, it was like right diagonal from us, and that's when it started to dissipate. But not so much that it wasn't still causing damage all around us. Stuff was still flying. It was still chaotic. And then suddenly we weren't here anymore. Suddenly we were at one point I couldn't my memory, literally as soon as I woke up from the dream, I was like, were we in a car tunnel or on a bridge? But then I remember the image of us being on a bridge, so I don't know if it just means that we were in the tunnel first or whatever. But we were on this bridge, and again, we weren't in a car. We were standing there similar to how we were standing out in the yard, no car. And then there was just this crazy whirlwind, and this one was bigger, and this one was wilder. It was scarier. It was terrifying, and it was the type of thing that if you really were ever outside or on a bridge where this was coming, like you pretty much would just expect that time is up for you. You know what I mean? Like it's just no escaping this, and all we could do was stand there. Pray. At one point, I had grabbed one of my friends' hand. Actually, it was more like their wrist, and I was like holding on to them really, really tightly. And then at some point, they weren't there anymore. And I'm not saying that they got taken by the whirlwind or that something happened. I don't know. It's just that at one point they were there, at one point they weren't. Me, the other friend, and my husband, we still were. And it got so wild at some point, we just had to hold on for dear life. Not even really just to each other, just the things around us, whatever. We were just holding on. Everything, even behind us on the bridge, everything was flying. Everything was going completely haywire. And then that part of the dream ended and it went into something else that was a warning about a different dream. I'm going to link some scriptures, not link. I'm going to add some scriptures into the video after the fact. They'll be at the bottom of this video. But this is about God's judgment. That's what the warning is. This warning is about His judgment. Instantly when I went to pray and write the dream down, I heard Golden Gate Bridge. I told my husband, he had the same revelation. If you don't already know or understand, this country is under God's judgment. And it will be systematically destroyed. There's no other way to say it. I'm not trying to sound insensitive. It's a very hard subject. It's a very hard thing to understand. And so while that's true, I want you to understand that this isn't picking on the West Coast or San Francisco. This is just their particular warning. I don't know when. I can't tell you when. All I know is that God told me to share this immediately. He gave this to me back in October of 2024. And in this particular dream, He's told me about these things long before, but He's given me this particular dream in October of last year. And within the last few days, He's like, you need to get this out. Even today, I was trying to write down. He was like, you need to make this video. And so, do with that what you will. Pray about it. If you have a way to leave, leave. If you have a way to get away from the West Coast, consider it. I can't tell you what to do. I can tell you what God is saying. I can tell you what the warning is. I can tell you that He is angry. I can tell you that if you have to try to guess and figure out why, you aren't paying attention, and that's part of the reason why He's upset. Judgment is coming, and this one in particular isn't just about San Fran, but just the West Coast and the surrounding area. The whirlwind is judgment, unrelenting, and just like in the dream, at one point, some were there, some weren't. Some of us were there, some of us weren't. There was nowhere to go. It came suddenly, and that tends to be the case. Even when you have warnings about stuff, even something so serious always seems sudden. Something so final always seems sudden. It never seems like enough time to prepare, because for the most part, most of us just don't. We don't think things are serious until it happens, until it's too late. Please don't wait till it's too late. I, understand that these type of things tend to rub people the wrong way, and they don't like doomsday messages, whatever. I'm going to be obedient. I'm going to do what I need to do. I'm going to say what I need to say as He leads. Last thing I want to do is get on here and tell this message, to be honest. But He told me to. So I'm going to always be obedient. I'm going to strive to always be obedient. I love y'all. Seek the Most High. Read your scriptures. And, be obedient. Repent. Turn back to Him now. Love you.